Hello, my all-powerful Menopause friends. This is Menopause Taylor bringing you the state of menopause in the world today. And this is an extra special podcast. It's part of what I call the WHAM series, WHAM. WHAM, that's an acronym for what happens at menopause. And this particular podcast is on what gets better at menopause. Now, I'm sure you've learned all sorts of things that have made you feel that nothing gets better at menopause. But that's not true. As I've taught you with every option for managing your menopause, there are always both advantages and disadvantages to everything. And the same is true of menopause itself. So welcome to a podcast that will focus on the good things about menopause, because the last one I gave was what gets worse at menopause. So this is what gets better. So if you're in denial about menopause, or you have a negative perception about it, or you feel sad in any way about menopause, you need to listen to this podcast. It will have you thinking about menopause in an entirely different way, I promise. In fact, if everyone listened to this podcast, it would make all of society regard menopause in the positive way that it deserves. So stay tuned and raise your expectations of the rest of your life. You know how it's sometimes difficult to see the forest for the trees? I think the general negativity toward menopause is like that. I mean, sure, you have to deal with some unwelcome symptoms, and you have to consider your risks for various diseases. But it's really no different for men. They have symptoms of aging that they don't like, and they have to deal with new disease risks as they age. They don't acknowledge them as much, but they have to deal with them. So menopause faces you with a whole lot of trees. And the trees can overwhelm you so much that you can't see the forest. So let's talk about the things that constitute the vast forest. The very first thing you realize is that the mere fact that you live to experience menopause is a gift. I have taught you in previous podcasts that the formula for how long any animal lives is the rate of its heartbeat. You see, every animal gets 1 billion heartbeats, and then it dies. Animals with rapid heart rates have short lives because they get to their billion beats quickly. And animals with short heart rates have long lives because they get to their billion beats slowly. In general, tiny animals have short lives, and huge animals have long lives. Humans are in the middle of the pack. We're in the middle of the range for body size and for heart rate. And you want to know what age we get to our billion beats? We get to 1 billion heartbeats at about the age of 47. That's when we're supposed to die. But because of all our scientific and medical advances, we are now living twice as long as we should. We're getting 2.1 billion beats. I like to call it your billion beat bonus. I think that's the best thing of all about menopause. Don't you? I mean, consider the alternative. See, there are some great things about menopause. Would you rather get to your billion beats and die? That's what people used to do. We've only been living past the age of 47 routinely since the late 1800s. Before then, people didn't live past about age 47. They died. Okay, the second thing that gets better at menopause is your hormonal roller coaster. Your entire adult life has been like a roller coaster. All your hormones going up and down and up and down, month after month after month. These fluctuations are so frequent that you don't even know what normal is. And then when you get to perimenopause, it's still chaotic. The only difference is that instead of a predictable cyclic roller coaster, you have a completely unpredictable chaotic roller coaster. But post-menopause calms everything down. For the first time in your entire adult life, you aren't on a roller coaster. It's smooth sailing. So despite the fact there are symptoms associated with loss of your hormones, there is some beauty in it too. I mean, if you look at it that way, it's definitely one of the things that gets better at menopause. And you know what? That leads me to the next thing that gets better at menopause. You have options. You get to choose how you want to make the rest of your life the best of your life. See, that's what this whole menopause education is all about. For the first time in your entire life, you are in control. Think about it. You certainly weren't in control at puberty. I mean, you were still a kid. You didn't even know why you felt so odd. You didn't know what was going on. You had to deal with grown-ups who didn't understand you. And there was nothing you could do to make anything better. And then there was PMS. Month after month, you felt awful once a month for days. And despite the fact that you felt awful with PMS, you considered it normal and natural. But you just had to put up with it. Of course, there's pregnancy. You were probably mortified at some of the things you experienced during pregnancy. And you certainly weren't in control of any of it. The same thing goes for the actual delivery. Oh my gosh, labor and delivery. What could be more weird than that? Do you know how many women make birth plans for how they want their delivery to go? And then they disregard the whole darn thing once they actually go into labor. Most of them do that. Why? Because they very quickly realize that they are definitely not in control of how their labor transpires. Mother Nature controls it. They have very little say in the matter. They just basically think that they want this or that, or they don't want this or that. And then when they get in labor, oh my God, everything changes. Change their mind right and left because they had no idea what to expect. They had no idea what they were going to want to do. And they had the audacity to think that they were going to be able to call the shots and do it a certain way before they were even in the process of doing it. I mean, come on. And let's say after that delivery, you choose to breastfeed. When you breastfed, didn't you realize how truly powerless you were? I mean, your breast ran the show. They leaked if the baby so much as even whimpered. And if you breastfed, you were like a caged animal. I mean, you literally had to be available and in the baby's presence every 2 hours. You'd finish breastfeeding only to realize that it's time to do it again before you even got comfortable between feedings. Talk about not having options. You were controlled by the basic reproductive process of human beings and Mother Nature, and your options were out the window. So every hormonal phase before menopause has left you with no real options to control its management at all. But now, at post-menopause, you have a whole smorgasbord of options. You get to manage your menopause your way. You can use whatever you want. Diet, lifestyle, vitamins, minerals, supplements, herbs, acupuncture, hypnosis, hormonal medications, or non-hormonal medications. You can use all of them. You can use only some of them. You can use trial and error to decide. You can change your mind. And you have me to teach you all the advantages and disadvantages of each option. Isn't that fantastic? How is it that women don't see this as a wonderful, wonderful thing? I think it is just phenomenal. And you don't have to care what anyone else is doing to manage her menopause. You get to manage your menopause your way. You know, I have a term for all these great things about menopause. I make up words from time to time. I call it Menopower. And I want all women to know about it, and I want them all to celebrate it. That is why I educate you. And that is why I educate you directly, because I want the power to be yours. I'm not putting this power into your doctor's hands. I'm not trying to make it so that someone else tells you what to do. I'm trying to give you the power to do things your way with knowledge. Another thing that gets better at menopause is your ability to say no. Did that make you flinch a little bit? You know, I mean, when I said no, why? Why did it make you flinch? It's probably because you've gone through your whole life saying yes, even when you wanted to say no. So by golly, you've earned the right to say no. By golly. I've always wondered what that means. You know, anytime I wonder what something means, I look it up. And by golly is English slang for oh my God. In any case, it gets a whole lot easier to say no at postmenopause. And that makes your life a whole lot better. Women are shocked at how freeing it can be to say no. They'll tell me that they feel so good about telling people no because they've always really said yes out of guilt. And once they start saying no, they just feel like they can now do what they really want to do. Another thing that gets better at menopause is your ability to handle life's struggles. You've got experience. You've got strength. And things don't faze you much anymore. And that helps you deal with problems so much more effectively. You see, I think this is a very powerful position. That is menopower. And this is why elderly people seem so calm. They seem to have wisdom. They have their act together. They can see solutions where other people can't. That it comes from having dealt with many different struggles in life and seeing that there are many solutions to things that other people don't see. The next thing that gets better at menopause is independence. Finally, no longer do you feel like you have to lean on others or be with a man or count on someone else to take care of you. You've learned to take care of yourself. That's another thing I emphasize a lot in this education. No one is ever going to take care of you as well as you can take care of yourself. And menopause is a time when you understand that fully. You finally get that it's up to you. And with that understanding, you have the tools with which to do a great job of taking care of yourself. So with independence, you see no need to conform. You can do your own thing.